Oh, here we go.
Got it.
Catch you later.
Yep.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Rotary. I have to say that 2 or 3 times because we have a full house today. So welcome, welcome, and welcome. Today we are going to have a program presented to us by the Norton Shores Economic Development you get it. We're going to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance by a reflection from Roger Morgenstern, and later we will be meeting our student guest from Reese Puffer. So let us start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
flag
of the United
United
States of
States of
America
America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice for
justice
all.
for all.
For our little bit of literacy, which is being inspired by all of those wonderful political campaign ads that I mute as often as I can, we get a lot of information. And according to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, democracy cannot succeed unless those who express their choice are prepared to choose wisely. The real safeguard of democracy is education.
Thank you, President Jane. That ties into my invocation, my reflection quite well. But first, I want to take a quick moment of silence. Our past president, Jason Piasecki, lost his father, Len, this past week. Len, as many of you know, has been a great supporter of baseball and sports and everything good in Muskegon. So if we just could have a quick moment of silence for Len and Jason and his family. Thank you. It's fitting I'm giving today's reflection on a week when the program involves Norton Shores, where I have been honored to serve on the City Council for the last 6 years. Thank you for your votes. I'm not up this year. There's no commercials about me. So, as Mayor Kneeland knows, I'm occasionally called upon with about 30 seconds notice to give the invocation at council meetings. I think it's because my seat is closest to the podium. No problem, I always say as I walk up to the mic. After 22 years in PR and community relations at Consumers Energy, I'm still pretty good on my feet, even as a retiree. But give me 4 weeks to contemplate a reflection for this august group? Yikes. Way too much time to think about it. Thank you, Rabbi, for the opportunity. I have been reflecting on the freedoms we enjoy in America and how many of us take them for granted. I just got back from 10 days in Central and Eastern Europe. As we cruised down the Danube River, I was reminded that these countries we visited, Hungary, Slovakia, Austria, and Germany, have faced centuries of conquest and occupation. Poor Hungary lost every war in the last 500 years. But today, they are all democracies in various forms. So today, as we approach yet another round of truly free and fair and contested elections here in the United States, let's reflect that our freedom is a gift that many before us have fought and died to keep. Democracy is messy, but we're lucky to have the system we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Everyone enjoy your lunch. We will reconvene in about 10 minutes. We have a wonderfully jam-packed meeting today, so we want to start with introducing our guest. And I'm going to invite Courtney Porat, Tim Arter, Rem Sprague, Jamie Hecker, Don Hutchins, and Amy Seymour, and Robert Taylor to come forward with their guest.
Well, welcome everybody. Tim Arter, I have Will Wright with me today. Will is a CPA with Berkeley DeLong. One of his specialties is municipal accounting and auditing, and I thought it would be one of the great opportunities for him to hear from municipal administrators and board members. So, well, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Amy Seymour, and this is my husband, Brad Seymour. He is here. He is currently deployed with the Air Force in Germany, and so I'm very proud to have him here. He hasn't been home in a year, so so I wanted to share him all with you. He wants to know what do we do on Thursdays. So
right.
this is
I always wonder.
This is normal. So so I had him write down his title, but he is the Chief of Combat Operations Technician of the 603rd Air Operations Center. So they are very busy right now. So this is my husband, Brad.
Good afternoon. I'm Courtney Porrette. I'm with Community Choice Credit Union, and I manage the branch on Estes Street. My guest today is Ethan Lohman. He manages our downtown office here on 121 West Western by the fire station. So he is down and close here in the neighborhood and is interested in joining and becoming a Rotarian.
Hi there, Rem Sprague. I want to introduce my guest today, two good friends of mine. To my immediate left is Paul Billings, who is a broadcaster on The Beat, 103.7 FM, and Louis Churchwell, who's employed at Health West, past CEO of West Michigan Therapy, and Paul and I were board members with Louis. So.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Taylor, and my guest today again is Karam Calkins, lives right here in Muskegon, and he's submitted his application for membership.
Good afternoon. I'm Don Hutchins, and this is my wife, Molly. Molly is a Paul Harris Fellow, and her dad was a past president in Albion, Michigan.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jamie Hecker, and I also brought my spouse. This is Mike Hecker. He works at Pratt & Whitney, Canada, over near the airport, and he is an associate director of parts distribution.
All right, to introduce two of their seniors is Christia Whitaker. She is a counselor at the high school.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
I'm not. I'm the assistant principal.
You got promoted. You've always been that.
Yep.
Jane is going to screw up at least 2 more times today. So forget what I just said. Congratulations on the promotion.
Okay. Thank you for having us today. We're so honored to be here, and it's really my pleasure to introduce 2 of our very best students in the senior class, both in and out of the classroom. So we have with us today Kennedy Hind and Kyle Schlaf.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Hind, and I'm a student at Reese Puffer. I like to play lacrosse, and I'm a part of NHS and Student Council at RPHS. Also, I take part in our impact group, which is really cool. We kind of do like fun stuff around the community and the school in order to kind of impact everybody and make a difference. So that's some of the things I'm a part of. Oh, future plans, yes, sorry. I'm undecided as of now where I'm going to college, but I'm hoping to study psychology and continue playing lacrosse. So.
Hi, my name is Kyle Schlaf. I am in student council. I'm a vice president of student council, and I'm also in NHS. I play basketball and baseball. I am in the Reese Puffer Madrigals choir. I love to sing and perform. I play guitar as well. And next year, I applied to Hope College and University of Michigan. So one of those two, I hope to study engineering at. So yeah.
All right, Marty laid down a challenge. It may happen, it may not, but it's not going to happen now. I'm going to introduce our program and speakers, and I'm going to hand it over to Tim Arter. So that's one way of avoiding flubbing up.
Well, thank you, Jane. I appreciate you turning over the podium to me. We have a great program today, and really pleased to see the number of people that are attending. We have Mayor Gary Kneeland, who was reelected to the mayorship in 2021 to a 4-year term. He's a graduate of Mona Shores High School, Kalamazoo College, and Western Michigan University. He's the owner of Gary Kneeland's State Farm Insurance Agency, and he serves on numerous boards in the community, throughout the community. And as many of you know, he served as president of the Muskegon Rotary Club during the fiscal year 2008 to 2009. Gary is married to Angie, and they are the proud parents of Chloe and Harrison. Mark Myers, who's also going to be speaking today, is a native of West Michigan. He was appointed to Norton Shores City Administrator in 2004. He holds degrees from Calvin University and Grand Valley State University. Mark serves on numerous intergovernmental and community nonprofit organization boards. He served, recently he served as president of the Muskegon Rotary Club during the fiscal year 2020-2021. Mark is married to Melissa, whom he met at Muskegon Rotary. They have 3 high school aged daughters, plus 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 bunnies, and a bunch of chickens. So with that, I'll introduce the 2 of them to come forward on their presentation.
All right, I get to go first. I have the first hour, Mark has the second hour, so settle in. Get comfortable, grab a cookie, grab some coffee. You know, when I was president of Rotary, I used to start every meeting with a joke. And they had to be, like, politically correct, and you couldn't offend this and that and all that sort of stuff. And I used to research, and I'd look for them, and I just couldn't find a good one today, so we're not going to do that. So. There we go. So, Norton Shores, yes, great place to be. I've been lucky enough to be the mayor since 2009 when I ran, and been elected a few times, a couple more times, and so my term goes till 2025, which would complete 4 terms, 16 years as mayor of Norton Shores. You know, Mark and I talked about this. Some people don't really, Norton Shores is kind of quiet. Where are we? What do we do? We're a former township, 24 square miles. You know, people ask when I'm out and about in the state, Michigan Municipal League meetings, those sort of things, where's Norton Shores? I always say it's between Muskegon and Grand Haven. And then they say, oh yeah, I've been to Hoffmaster, or I used to go to Maranatha when I was a kid. So Norton Shores is relative, so I'm going to give a little history of the city. So relatively young, we've been a city only since 1968, township before that. Back in the day, we were actually part of Ottawa County. We've got, like I said, 24 square miles. We've got 6 miles of Lake Michigan Beach, 150-ish miles of roads that we need to maintain. Got 3 public school districts that are part in Norton Shores, a small part of Muskegon Public Schools. About 25% of the land mass of the city is Grand Haven Public Schools. But then Bill O'Brien's here. We have a great relationship with Mona Shores Public Schools, which is predominantly the biggest school district in the city, and great relationship. They're a great school district, so they work together in partnership as we're trying to attract people to live into the city. It's helpful to have great schools, so thanks, Bill. Go Sailors. Where's Norton Shores? So if you can think about it, so Sherman Boulevard south to the Ottawa County line. Lake Michigan, obviously, if you go too far west, you're going to get wet, so we end at Lake Michigan, and then Harvey Street to the east. So give you a little where we're at. We've got about 114 full-time employees, about 40 part-time employees. And I compare that just so you can get a kind of feel. We do everything we think very efficiently, very well. Some of our neighboring communities, City of Muskegon has about 359 employees. City of Grand Haven even has about 200 employees. So little demographics. Oh, I got this little clicker, I know. And you got to go down to go up, I've been told. So, ooh, there we go. So here's the population growth for the city, 1990 census. I won't read all that, up to the 2020 census and what's considered the 2021 estimate. Norton Shores has been on a continuous growth path with population for many years now, and one of only communities actually in the county that have grown consistently over about 20 years. There's a belief that Norton Shores is kind of older community. Norton Shores is actually the average age. I looked it up on the Census Bureau today. If you got extra time in your life, dig around the Census Bureau website. It's really exciting. But the average age in Norton Shores is only 41 years old, and actually 57% of our total population is less than 45 years old, so under 45. So lots of families. 30% of Norton Shores residents have a bachelor's degree or higher, according to the Census Bureau. And we have a median household income of about $65,000. $65,000, yes. All right, so one thing that we say we're quiet and things that we do is we talk about state equalized value and the valuation of property taxes, you know, which for us is kind of a reflection on how we're growing and what the city's worth, if you will. And so you can see in about 20 years, you know, we've gone from about 600 million in state equalized value. We've more than doubled that to 1.3 million. I became mayor in 2009, so I think that's probably close. Mike's pointing at the clock, you know, there's a reason for that, I should say. And, but just for comparison's sake, again, these are just numbers that are out there. You know, the equalized value of the city of Norton Shores is 32% higher than the city of Muskegon and 26% higher than the city of Grand Haven, so where we're between the two. And then I'm going to turn this over to Mark, but one thing that I'll talk about, economic development, we have no economic development team. We don't have an economic development employee, a dedicated employee. It's just one of Mark's additional job duties. So he handles economic development as well as being the city administrator. So I'll turn it over to Mark.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Rotary, for the opportunity to talk about my favorite subject. I didn't realize that we were as young as we are, Mayor. Apparently, as I approach 60, I'm bringing the average down, apparently. So I was 31 years old when I started with the city in 1995. So thank you for setting this up, Mayor. I'm going to talk about some of the economic development, and I'm going to talk about residential growth, commercial growth, and industrial growth. Then I'll end with some city projects, quality of life projects, and some branding. So first I'm going to talk about housing. You've probably heard that, you know, nationally, statewide, West Michigan, Kent, Ottawa, Muskegon, we have a housing shortage. And even though we're a growing community, we are certainly no different. Take a look at the housing statistics here. These are the last 4 fiscal years, and these are very small numbers for certain. To put it in perspective, in 1999, we had the highest number of new homes built in the city, 160 in a single year. Then, of course, the recession hit. Those numbers went down immediately to, I think in 2010, about 9 homes. But after a couple of years after the Great Recession, it rebounded to anywhere from 50 to 60 new homes over the next 5 or 6 years. And really housing, not just in Norton Shores, but in the area, is really an impediment to future growth. If people can't find a place to live, employers are not going to find employees to fill positions, and so on and so forth. So the lack of housing is a real challenge to future growth. What occurred too is in the 90s, everyone was getting into housing. You know, you had law firms getting into housing, you had franchise restaurant owners getting into housing. A lot of them did not make it through the Great Recession. So after the recession, those builders that were still around and basically built infill housing. They bought lots from former developments that didn't make it through the recession. Well, in Norton Shores, that infill housing has occurred. There really aren't many stray lots here and there in housing developments. So in all sectors, multifamily, single family, apartments, so on and so forth, even senior housing, we haven't seen new developments since the mid-2000s. Now, fast forward, even though these numbers are low, the outlook is good even in this current economy because the city has approved site plans that represent 780 units of new housing. That's the good news. The bad news is not all of those will get built, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So I want to highlight a few of our housing developments. The first one, Ellis Landings, this is unique. Now, as we look at housing, we don't want all single-family housing, for example, all 780 units. We want a mix of housing so that's affordable and so that it meets different demographics, whether you're young first-home buyers, whether you're perhaps empty nesters and looking for a condo and not maintaining a large home lot. So I want to point out Ellis Landings, but I want to ask a question. Does this look like a mobile home to you? Because it is. And so Ellis Landings is a 47-unit mobile home park. Now, 20 years ago, so we're a former township. We have, what, Mayor, four or five, I've lost count, mobile home parks that were built as far back as the 40s. And so 20 years ago, if you had said, Mark, how about a new mobile home park in Norton Shores, I would have said you were crazy. But, the housing market is different. Housing prices are high. This is a West Wind construction development. West Wind is out of Grand Haven. They have a great history of building quality developments, and they're fairly new to housing. So they are building a 47-unit mobile home park. It's Ellis Road near US 31. It's a property that they had planned to develop into office, but of course office space is not something that's in demand right now. So we're looking forward to that. Then I want to mention Atwater Springs. So here's a development. It was a private-public partnership on a former private campground with a pond in the northeast corner of Norton Shores. It's at the corner of Fruitport Township and Spring Lake Township. Had a new developer, worked with us, helped pay to get sewer there. Unfortunately, it's stalled a bit. They were building very high-end homes, $650,000 homes. And so most recently, Wheelfish Group and Frank Peterson, Frank's here today, came to the city, and they are in the process of purchasing it. But what they've done is, working with the city, we've amended the site plan to go from 53 units to 86 units in building these narrow homes instead of on 60-plus foot lots on 33-foot lots. So I think the closing's coming up soon, and Frank had said that they were hoping to completely build this out within 36 months, and certainly we hope to see that happen. So I will move on to some multifamily residential. So east town of Norton Shores, the story there, that's Seminole Road and Seaway Drive. It's a former mixed-use development that stalled during the Great Recession and in fact was going nowhere. The city approached the bank that owned the majority of the vacant property there. And we were able to purchase, the city was able to purchase 7 vacant properties. Pennies on the dollar, we paid $60,000 plus $60,000 in back taxes to acquire $5.1 million principal and interest of property. And we hired a broker to market that, and we've just approved a site plan for a 120-unit apartment community. And we hope to close. It's both a Hudsonville developer and also a Holland developer working on that project. We hope to close on that by the end of the year. 815 is at Judson and Grand Haven Road, 144 condo unit community. And then Muskegon Associates, this is one of those that may not get built. Muskegon Associates is the former Kmart property. Everybody knows where that is, right? This was approved 2 years ago, and then the pandemic hit. I'm told by the developer it's a real project, but they're just waiting out the market to see what happens with construction costs. Then senior living. It's been at least 17 years since we've had a senior living center built in Norton Shores. We currently have 2 going up, one on Harvey Street. If you've driven by, you've seen it. Another one will be in the East Broadway area on Volk. We have to make some improvements to the water capacity there to get that built, but certainly, and I'm an example, the seniors are a growing demographic in Norton Shores and elsewhere, and we're glad to see this housing coming online as it will be more in demand in the future. And then commercial development. Toast and Jams, I'm sure you're all familiar with that restaurant. They relocated to the Easttown development and seem to be thriving there as well. The former Verdoni's restaurant. Chipotle Mexican Grill. Norton Shore, we're a suburb, and I don't know if this is indicative of suburbs, but we seem to attract a lot of national chains. But we're often the first for the Muskegon area, so Chipotle Grill is one of those. Salted Pecker Brewing, we finally have a brewery. Those are local residents that created that in a former coffee shop in the Easttown development. Tommy's Car Wash. Car washes are not sexy, I'll admit it. But I will tell you, if you haven't been through it, it's probably the most sophisticated car wash you'll ever go through. The control panel looks like a 747 cockpit or something. Camp Bow Wow, that's for those of you who've been in the community for a while, the former Hobnob restaurant that burned down 20 years ago near on Pontaluna and Chambers Drive near 31. Camp Bow Wow is a doggy daycare, so another first, I think, to the area. And then King Crab is the former Logan's on Harvey Street, finally opening after months and months of. Has anybody been there? Is it good? It's good? All right. We'll have to go. And then let me talk about industrial growth. I think historically people think of Norton Shores as a bedroom community, and certainly we have great housing stock, we have beautiful neighborhoods, but we are far more than just a bedroom community. I just talked about the commercial development. We have Harvey Street and Henry Street commercial districts that we share with other municipalities, and those are thriving. But we also have 5 industrial parks. We have 3 public parks, we have 2 private parks, and we are a leader in job growth in the area. I'll mention Smart Vision Lights, moved here from Holton, doubled in size about 3 years ago, doubled in size in about a year and a half. Seal Bond, and let me mention, in the last 3 years, we've had probably a half dozen manufacturers move to Norton Shores, to the county from North Ottawa and elsewhere. So, we're attracting manufacturers, and they're coming here really for 2 reasons. One, they want new facilities, larger facilities for growth. Also, they want to be closer to their workforce because much of their workforce comes from Muskegon County. So, clever innovations, for example, the Clever Cutter invented by Orville Crane, as you may know. It's moving from Grand Haven. They're on the south end of Grand Haven, and I've heard this from others that have moved here. Their employees don't like driving down Beacon Boulevard and getting stuck in traffic every day during rush hour. They're bringing 74 employees, and then they're going to add 20. La Colombe and Seal Bond are going to go into a new 200,000 square foot facility built by Robert Gruder's Development. La Colombe is the coffee roaster out of Philadelphia that moved here in 2017, purchasing the former Arla Cheese factory, and they're just growing leaps and bounds. They started with 50 employees in 2017. They're going to be over 300 within the next 2 years. And this is actually their second expansion this year. They have another 50,000 square foot expansion. And then Midwest XX, that's a West Wind construction project. That's unique because they purchased about 13 acres of city-owned industrial property that the city was able to purchase and amass, if you will. Part of that is due to the help of GMed, so I want to give them credit. They received an MEDC grant on our behalf to help purchase some of that property. Westwind has recently purchased it and is planning to build 2 new 50 to 80,000 square foot manufacturing facilities there. That's on the east side of Grand Haven Road between Sternberg and Mount Garfield Road. There is a photo of the Seal Bond and La Colombe building. Now I want to touch on some city projects. You know, the city, you know, we're here to, you know, create a good environment where people want to, you know, work, live, and play. The Seminole Road Place Plan is a plan that we did for Seminole Road Corridor. We're a suburb where we don't have a downtown, so we wanted to create a sense of place. So we chose Seminole Road between Henry Street and Seaway Drive to be that place. Did a target market analysis to help attract the right mix of goods and services to the area. It sparked Kmart finally coming down after a dozen years, and Trinity Health building a new healthcare facility there. It sparked the city acquiring the property in Easttown, and it also includes a streetscape. So if you've been down that road, we've got a newly constructed road, curb gutter. We filled in the ditches, the drainage ditches, and built sidewalks. We put in benches and ornamental lighting, trying to create that sense of place. And we're just, next month, we'll finish up the second phase of that streetscape. Ross Park Pavilion and Overlook Deck. Well, here's our Seminole Road Place Plan. You see the ornamental lighting and banners there. Ross Park, we've got a pavilion that was built in the mid-'70s, and it's been obsolete for at least a decade. And so we're going to reimagine that, and here's a rendering of new indoor space. We're also going to create a very large overlook deck with unobstructed views of Mona Lake. We'll have seating out there. We'll even have, you see in the bottom right corner, we'll have a fire pit and Adirondack chairs, and we hope that this will really be a gathering place. And I'm going to wrap up. This might not look like economic development, but it's unique because it's not often you get to build a cemetery. So our cemetery filled up. I think last month we sold the last burial site. So we purchased 11 acres at the end of Ellis Road. This is across from Ellis Landings. And you're seeing the first phase here of a new road going in and of the area cleared. And I will end with our branding. Unfortunately, Jason isn't here. On your tables, we've got posters, and there's a QR code. If you put your mobile device over that, it'll bring you to a new Norton Shores Living website. You'll see our new branding, new logo, tagline, really playing up our natural resources and parks. You see a sign there. We've made new park signs incorporating the brand. And if you want any swag, stop by City Hall and I'll hook you up with a t-shirt, hoodie. We've got beer glasses and wine glasses for after work. And with that, looking forward, Todd Jacobs is here. You know, I talked a lot about housing, and I want to give Todd some credit for taking some leadership through the Community Foundation. We are going to do a community-wide or actually county-wide housing study to help determine what our housing needs are. How many units are we missing? What type of housing do we need to attract to fill that need? So with that, I'm getting the hook.
Thank you, Mark, but do not go away. Do not go away, because I'm sure there's going to be some questions for you. And we have one back there.
Nice job, Mark. Hey, couple of blue buildings off of Sternberg. What is that, east of Harvey? Fine-looking blue buildings.
And your question is?
What's going on with the blue buildings?
Well, something I didn't touch on, and I don't know if it's because we're a suburb or not, but something else in this post-pandemic world apparently is a need for self-storage. And so we have a number of self-storage, whether it's climate controlled. Those particular buildings are incubator buildings, so they can be used for, they can be your toy barn if you want to store your toys, or they could be an incubator for a business, construction business maybe, you know, that type of thing.
Okay, this is part question and part not question.
Next question, please.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Bob Skolnick. I was president of this club 20 years ago, and I knew everybody. Now I don't know everybody. But I just wanted to say, I've been an elected official for 30 years, and I owned a business in Norton Shores for 20-some years. I was on the city council for 10 years. I've been a county commissioner for 20, always only representing the city of Norton Shores, and I have been a walking commercial for that city. I've watched what's happened there. I know how they helped me growing a business from just me to about 100 people. And it's just a fantastic city to live in. I live on a small residential road. I'm not, you know, a gated community or anything. They just repaved the road. Why did they repave the road? It needed it. I lived there in that house 34 years. The road has never really been touched. But the citizens passed a road millage maybe 10 years ago. I don't remember how many years ago it was. 2008. A small millage. But they're going around and paving all the roads. I mean, the roads in Norton Shores are like you're in a different world. Fantastic community. Not your road. But anyway, I just want to thank Gary and Mark and the entire city council. That city is so well run, it's crazy. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, and your check will be waiting after the meeting for that paid public announcement.
And notice all the increases in economic development stuff, all after Bob left the council.
All right, I have a question. It was the question that he asked because you didn't really answer it. What are you going to do with the buildings? Are they up for somebody to ask to buy? Are they, I mean, there's just those 2 hotels that were supposed to be there that are just ugly.
Oh.
Okay, those are different blue buildings, I believe. Right?
Yes.
Oh,
you were? Oh, I thought you were talking about the storage facilities on Grand Haven Road.
So that's Fruitport.
So
don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's Fruitport, so I'll give you their number after the meeting. I don't. I've asked for updates, and I know they're frustrated with the situation. They're either going to be redeveloped or they're going to be torn down, is my guess.
Quick question, Mark. Could you tell us a little bit about the recreational trail that's going to go along Lake Harbor Road, please?
Thank you, Bob. Yeah. So years ago, a citizen committee came up with this idea of an off-street recreational trail between Lake Harbor Park along Lake Harbor Road to Hoffmaster, and didn't have the wherewithal to get it done. So we're going to use, the city's going to use ARPA funds, so federal stimulus monies, $2 million, maybe even more, to get that done, and we're going to take over that project. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jane.
Oh, Mona Shores is really developing. You can find a place to live above the ground now and below the ground. So congratulations. Mark, Gary, we're going to make a donation in your name to the Malala Fund, a fund that is promoting the education of girls in many areas where that is a very difficult thing to accomplish. So thank you very much for your presentation. We have birthdays. Claire Root Benson on October 14th, Jackie Fisher on October 16th, Chauncey Williams on October 16th, and Myra Dutton on October 17th. So as they contribute their birthday gift to us, we'll sing them their song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Oh, and the harmony was wonderful. Thank you. This time in the meeting, we like to spotlight one of our members, because our members are doing a lot of things out in the community that we may not see as we're sitting here having lunch with them. So today, our member spotlight is going to be our very own Melissa Moore.
My name is Melissa Moore. I am the Executive Director of Reed Muskegon. I joined Rotary in 2014, I believe, 2013, 2014, when I first started at Reed Muskegon. I am originally from Rockford, Illinois. I've lived in Michigan since, I don't even know how long it's been now, 17 years. My husband, Tom, is from Australia. So when we first met, we spent several years traveling between countries and then lived in New Hampshire for 10 years. I was the director of a statewide nonprofit there. All three of our children were born in New Hampshire, but think of themselves as Michiganders because we moved here when they were young. So we have a now 24-year-old Lachlan who builds satellites in Southern California. Our daughter Clara is a recent graduate of GVSU, and our daughter Alice is going into her sophomore year at U of M. With our new president's focus on literacy, certainly I think there are ways we can bring the resources and knowledge of Reed Muskegon to the club to help move that forward. We have a lot of knowledge and a lot of connections when it comes to all the different ways that we can support literacy in our community, a deep understanding of how literacy is about so much more than just learning how to read. It's about how to manage your health, how to manage your finances, how to prepare for and sustain, livable wage jobs. So I think bringing that knowledge and those connections to national resources to the Rotary Club as we look to how we want to impact literacy in Muskegon County is something that I'm really excited to be a part of.
It is a joy to work with Melissa and Reed Muskegon, and it will not be too long before we will reconvene our literacy committee in Rotary to find out how we can continue to support them in their efforts. At this point, we have a presentation of a Paul Harris Award, and Ginny Sprague is going to do this.
Thank you, President
Okay, I'm going to take advantage of the bully pulpit for a minute. Sorry. Sorry, yes, sir. Will do. A few months ago, in August, we did recognition of several Paul Harris Plus fellows who continued their contributions to support the Rotary Foundation. One of our honorees was out of town when we did this, much to my chagrin. I thought he'd be here. But I did want to thank Tim Arter. Tim, if you'd like to come up. It's my pleasure to present you with your Paul Harris Plus 3 Award. You are certainly a stellar Paul Harris Fellow, and we appreciate everybody's continued support of the Rotary Foundation. Paul Harris Fellow Awards are not a destination, they're part of the journey. So we appreciate your continuing support. Thank you, Tim. Now, as advertised, we have the pleasure of presenting a Paul Harris Fellow Award today. In 1957, Rotary International established the Paul Harris Fellow Award to honor Paul Harris, one of the 3 founders of the Rotary. Rotary created his eponymous award to express appreciation for the financial support of the humanitarian and educational programs of the Rotary Foundation. This award is one of Rotary's most prestigious honors. Paul Harris once said, "Dreaming is not so bad if one dreams good dreams and makes them come true." Rotarians make dreams a reality through the Rotary Foundation programs that provide educational opportunities, food, potable water, sanitation, healthcare, immunization, and shelter for millions of persons here at home and around the world. Today, we are honoring a deserving individual who also dreams good dreams and makes them come true. To help with this presentation, I invite Rem Sprague to come forward and tell us about our honoree, who will join the worldwide ranks of Paul Harris Fellows. Rem?
Thank you. So, Rem Sprague, Rotarian. Today I'm proud to present our club's Paul Harris Award to a community activist, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and social justice advocate. Our awardee is a well-known radio personality, the founder of WUVS 103.7, The Beat, the first low-power radio station launched in the U.S. The Beat reaches nearly 1 million households across the state. He later launched WHPB 98.5, The Wire, in Orlando, Florida. Both stations present local news, education, music, and interviews with area leaders. Aside from his radio work, our awardee established the West Michigan Community Help Network, a 501c3 whose mission is to help those in need through a variety of programs focused on education, work readiness, mentorship, empowerment, and networking. He founded bestblacknews.com to provide the urban community an opportunity to spotlight positive news. He also founded Imara Entertainment, the record label for youth, creating a platform for young, aspiring musical artists. Our awardee takes a personal interest in youth development in our community. He has sponsored trips to the Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. He also established the Kids Free Trip to Africa program, providing young people from our community the opportunity to visit Ghana and learn firsthand about the culture by interacting with villagers. He opened a library in Ghana and was made a village chief. In the interest of time, I'm proud to introduce you to our newest Paul Harris Fellow, Paul Allen Billings.
Let me give this to Rem to give to you, as I get to make some formal remarks. Did you want to wait and say something when I'm done? Yes, or not? Okay, thank you. Today, my fellow Rotarians, we move closer to a more peaceful world as Paul Billings becomes a Paul Harris Fellow. Paul, you are being recognized today as a Paul Harris Fellow in special appreciation for how your life exemplifies the humanitarian and educational objectives of the Rotary Foundation. You were designated to receive this recognition by the Muskegon Rotary Club. On behalf of the Rotary Foundation Board of Trustees, you received 3 emblems of a Paul Harris Fellow: a certificate, a lapel pin, and a medallion. The certificate states that you've been named a Paul Harris Fellow in appreciation of tangible and significant assistance given for the furtherance of better understanding and friendly relations between peoples of the world. We encourage you to wear your pin to all Rotary events to demonstrate your support of the Rotary Foundation programs that save and invigorate people's lives worldwide. Please accept our congratulations and sincere appreciation for your commitment to our shared goals of world understanding and peace. Rotarians and friends, please congratulate and recognize the newest Paul Harris Fellow in the world, Paul Allen Billings. Congratulations.
I am totally shocked. Thank you. Please be seated. Wow. There's a lady in heaven smiling, and she is saying her labor is not in vain. The sacrifices that she made, the values that she installed into my family, my siblings' life, it's not wasted. I'm just a little kid from Baker Street in Muskegon Heights who want to make a difference, and I don't do it for accolades. Helping people helps me heal, and I'm overwhelmed right now, you know. Really, I mean, I'm overwhelmed. I survived my hurricane. I was in Orlando, and it just flew in last night. I thought I was coming here to hang out, and, you know, I didn't realize we had so many comedians in the Rotary, and I seen this award. Puts a lot of pressure on me to go even further, to continue to do the work. I do everything I do because of the Christian values that was installed into me. And please follow the journey. I'm very, very passionate about the village in Ghana, where the average income is $600 a year. And they still love God, they still believe. And they say to me as a chief, the only way we can get out of here is through education. They know that. So if you believe in anything about me, follow my journey to help life in these places where people have no hope and they only dream really is to get to America. I get that. And I know everybody can't come to America, but we can give them opportunities there. Wow. Thank you, Ram. Thank you, Lewis. I'm overwhelmed. Let me shut up. I talk about this on radio. I'm just overwhelmed, and thank everyone that voted for me. Yeah.
If I may indulge the bully pulpit for one more minute. As I said, we don't regard Paul Harris Fellows as a destination, but part of the journey. And in support of that, we have Brave Rotarian Contest. I'd like to thank everyone who signed up last week to participate in our Poetic License Contest. We have 19 Brave Rotarians, which means I need one more. And to put it poetically, we're one line short of a sonnet or one syllable short of a haiku. So anyway, if you see me after, I see lots of hands waving. Oh, Jackie Fisher, okay, thank you. I will write you down. And now I will release the pulpit to the lady in charge.
Oh boy, being in charge of this group. Paul, I just want to add my congratulations. Watching the work that you've done in this community is inspiring, and I'm just so happy that you're with us today. We do have some announcement. Meredith Smiley has some news for us. As she comes up, I will give you the mundane news. Not mundane at all. It's a technological advancement for our club. And those people on Zoom pay close attention because we're going to move the virtual meeting from Zoom to live stream on YouTube. You'll get all of the information in the room, and I think it's going to be a much easier presentation. So thank you, Mike, for being able to do that. That's what I've got. So I am very happy to introduce Meredith.
Well, it's been about 6 months since you guys have heard from me, but I am just thrilled to announce that the board has approved another Rotary dinner at the Culinary Institute of Michigan, which is known as Courses here locally. So on your table is an invitation, November 10th, $75 per person. Doors open at 6. Seating is limited, so if you are not tech savvy enough to register via Eventbrite, you can just email me, or you can see Kim and she can add that to your dues if you would prefer that. So super excited. This is a fundraiser that goes 100% of the proceeds from the meals, from the tickets sold, go to our Rotary Club. So that is incredibly generous of Aaron Mikey and the crew at Courses and all of the students. This is a fabulous learning experience for them. And if you were able to participate back in March, you know that you're getting an amazing meal. And while I do have the pulpit, I did share last week Family Changes Everything, which is a local event that we're putting on for Bethany Christian Services. See me if you are interested. We are offering a free preview of Lyle Crocodile, which is a new kids movie out, and we're providing childcare. So come and join us for a night of celebration.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you for sneaking in that announcement, because it's very good. The next thing on our agenda is the raffle. And Frank Peterson has the raffle tickets. Yay! Okay. I want to thank our guests for coming. Courtney, Ethan, Will, Lewis, and Paul, Michael, Molly, Brad, and Karim, and our student guests from Reese Puffer. So thank you for joining us today. I want to warn everybody, we're going to have a switch of venue, not this week, but the week after, which is the 27th. We will be going back to the Delta. So see you here next week, and the Delta the next week after. Our program next week is going to be the Milwaukee Clipper. And I made it through the entire rest of the meeting without having one flub, Marty. I think you owe me something. We will end with the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
The truth.
Is it fair
To
to
all
all
concerned.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?